Right on page 304, there's a section called What is Assessment? Assessment in education implies many things: evaluation, grades, test performance, reflections, criteria, rubrics, and more. To encompass adequately in many dimensions, we will examine assessments in a broader sense. So that's what this whole section is about. Ultimately, assessment can be thought of as the act of sitting beside ourselves and analyzing what we do, um, and observing us and what we observe in the whole scheme of the learning. Assessors can provide information, but in the end, it is the person being assessed who accepts the information or rejects it, either using the information to further his or her development or setting aside the information as unimportant. Um, and that's beginning to be more student centered again. I have to decide that. Observations, paper and pencil tests, performance tasks, portfolios, journals, and media productions are some of the many possible assessment measures, and you have and are being introduced to most of those. Often these tools are labeled assessments, but in fact they are merely sources of data that assessors can use to provide feedback to the teacher and to students. Keep in mind that assessing is the larger process of gathering information, then interpreting the information, providing the feedback, and ultimately adjusting teaching and learning strategies so that more learning can take place. It's continuous checking, looking at the data, revisiting the scores, finding the weak points, grouping the students to get that differentiated instruction. Let's say 12 of the students didn't get the subject verb agreement. The rest of them did. So now you're going to have to move the other group on because you don't want to hold them back. And the group that didn't get it, you're going to have to revisit, have review material, have more activities around it. Then another testing happens, have you move them? If not, okay, regroup. What are we going to do again? So you can see it is a continuous. You could be on a data collection overload very easily. So you're going to have to learn to manage. Time management is going to be a must for you in order to make sure that you're keeping close dibs and you have evidence to show you've tested them. You have gone back over and reviewed with the students who need to be reviewed and then retested, and that amount of paper load is going to be unending if you don't find some way to do it in an organized fashion. And that's where your districts are going to come into play here. They're probably each one are going to have a set criteria that they're looking for and how often they have to be tested and by what means.